If you can't contain a Luke Kennard, Xavier Tillman pick and roll, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. It's time to reevaluate everything you're doing. It's time to reevaluate everything you're doing. Yesterday afternoon, Martin Luther King Day, the Warriors lose to essentially the Memphis Grizzlies G League team. No Ja, no Bain, no Adams, no Clark, no Smart. Where do I start? Where do I start? I think I want to start with this new front court pairing that Steve Kerr has been rolling out there. In fact, started Kevon Looney and Dario Saric. There's no nice way to put it. It's NBA suicide pairing those two in your front court, because defensively, wherever they're at, that's where they're going to be. You're playing two bigs who cannot get out and contest shots and cannot run the floor. Oh, yeah, and do not protect the rim. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. It starts right there with these issues right now. Actually, I won't even say it starts there, because we got so many issues. I don't even know what to pick from. It's look, man. And it's funny because, they gave Steph the night off in Milwaukee. They should have given Clay that night off as well, apparently. Right. And don't tell me about Clay doesn't fall under the star resting rule, because he had missed those 2 seasons. So they could have rested them both, because I don't know what Clay was doing out there yesterday. He's fallen back into who he is now as a player, those habits. He doesn't box out. He's not playing basketball unless he's engaged with the ball, unless he thinks he's going to get open, or he's guarding the ball, or he's in the ball action. He's just standing there like he's at a bus stop. And you saw all those young players come flying in for offensive rebounds. And now we heard the stat, 40 free throws, 20 threes. I went back, did my breakdown this morning, watched the game again. I don't have a problem with the whistle. I don't have a problem. You can point out to a couple of them, right? Like Jaren Jackson, clumsy self, fell on Steph. Okay, here and there. But generally speaking, they earned all of those whistles because we're starting behind the 8 ball with that front court. But you could easily say we're starting behind the 8 ball with our backcourt. I don't know if the Splash Brothers can play heavy minutes together anymore. That's the truth of the matter. Like so that starting lineup was Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Dario, and Looney. Now, Wiggins, we can talk about, he's looking better physically, right? But you're starting a game with 4 minus defenders. You cannot do that. And I understand we're limited in rotation right now, but some of this stuff, again, almost it low-key feels like sabotage, some of the decision-making. And I thought Memphis was a great example of players playing without an agenda, right? You had all these young guys. There was no pecking order, right? And so the ball just moved around for the open shot, and they were just playing hard just to be out there. And what do you know? It wasn't even close, really, right? I mean, I guess it was close until the end, but they ran away with it. They deserved the win. And again, this situation here it's getting ugly. And look, I'm going to propose this question. I know a lot of you are not going to like this, but I think the consensus amongst Dub Nation has been, well, how do we maximize these final championship window years for Steph? Right? And so we've got to trade this asset and this, and who do we bring in to help Steph? How long does Steph have to play the way he has been playing for you to say, okay, we can no longer build around Steph? Is it to the All-Star break, February 8th? Is it the rest of the season? Or would you still head into the offseason saying we still got to build around Steph? Because, Father Time, it's undefeated right now, and it looks like it's heading at him like a freight train. Like now the counter to that is, and I understand this, again, I'm proposing the question. I'm just saying, right? It's starting this streak of the way Steph's been playing right now. It's starting to make you think like, well, can we continue to try to build this whole thing around him? Is that even fair? Now the counter again would be like, you bring in a couple new players, you exit out a couple players, the vibes change, and Steph starts looking like Steph again. Right? And that's always going to be the temptation. And I'm not saying that that's not possible. But again, this continues for a couple more weeks of Steph looking like this. Why mortgage the future to take a swing at the plate that's not even there. And I think one of the telltale signs of this is there are no easy nights anymore. It doesn't matter who or it is. You look around, you're like, oh, well, maybe he can get right during this night and this will. There are no easy nights. You can be playing the Memphis Hustle, and it's still a grind because what had worked in the past no longer works. And there's so many domino effects trickling down throughout this roster that are just making this team really unacceptable defensively. And at this point, if we're going to build this around Steph, you have to surround him with one, a rim protector, and two, players that will play defense, close out on the perimeter. That we started the 3-ball era, and now we don't guard the 3-point line. It's very frustrating. I know this is kind of turned into a rant, but yeah, this was the type of loss where it's like, hey, man, maybe we can no longer hold on to this. We can no longer hold on to this little window of one more run with these guys. And it's super disappointing that Clay has slipped back into kind of what he was doing in the beginning of the season. Looney, and I get it, we've got so many injuries. Looney shouldn't be playing right now. And so I don't know what they're going to do, man. My guess, gauging who Joe Lacob has shown us to be, is we're going to make multiple trades headed into this deadline and try to shuffle something up because it's embarrassing right now, right? It's embarrassing to watch this team. I think the issue is, most of these trades get done at the deadline, right? Everybody's holding out for a better deal until the 11th hour, as they say. But if we wait till February 8th, we may be in such a deep hole. It's going to be like, well, what's the point? So I think they've got to be aggressive now if they're going to make a move. Otherwise, perhaps at the deadline, they may just dump a bunch of salary and reevaluate it in the summer. And we just may be a lost season. I'll say this. I don't think Steve Kerr's coming back. I mean, maybe I don't think this is a hot take for anybody. And we've been all kind of criticizing his decision-making. And a lot of you say, well, he's in an impossible situation. I don't disagree. Like it's just maybe it's run its course. I think he knows that. And so you let him leave gracefully in the summer, mutually, right? But man, there's a part of me that would love to see just a move right now, just to shake up the vibes, just to see what it looks like under something different. Because at this point, what are we sacrificing? We're not. It's that may be the positive is we're not riding the fence anymore. We're just clearly not good, right? And so now I think it allows them maybe to take some risks that you wouldn't want to do, straddling the fence of, hey, maybe we can figure this out. I don't think they got to do something. They got to do something. All right, I think that's all I have for y'all today. As always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.